want it to adopt a particular persona so that the output is kind of coming from that perspective, it's really good at doing that. So if you wanted to act like it is a science teacher, if you want to tell it that Amelia Earhart should be talking about aviation, whatever it might be, giving your AI prompt some kind of role for the GPT to play is also a really great way of honing in on a really great output that kind of matches the tone that you're going for. You should be really clear with examples or elements that are a part of the output. So if you want it to include very particular things, you should tell it that. If you don't want it to include very particular things, you should tell it that. Especially in an educational context, AI may not think about not producing the answers in its output for a student to read, okay? So make sure that you are giving it a really, really clear expectation as to what it should include or should not include, depending on who it's for or the context in which you're using it. And then structure. Okay, if you need this to be in a 500-word essay, if you need it to be a bulleted list, if you need it to be a set of instructions for people to follow, being really clear about your expectations of what it should look like in its final output, and also that tone or its kind of the feeling that it should be producing. So things like, it should be really formal or informal. I'm trying to inspire people to engage with this thing I'm trying to get you to produce. So try and write with inspirational language. If you need it to be persuasive, make sure it's using persuasive language. So it's really important to craft that good response using something like the CARES framework. You may have something in your own schools that's, a similar acronym or a similar kind of framework, but we find that CARES is a really great way of setting up something that people can quite easily remember and engage with. I'm not going to go through all these prompting do's and don'ts in detail because we want to get you towards the challenge, but they are indeed on your handout at your table. So there are some things that, and this kind of goes back through some of that CARES as well, but these are great tips, I think, outside of that CARES acronym. We want to, it's not an acronym, it's something else, and I'm not an English teacher, so don't ask me what it is, but any English teachers in the room? A mnemonic device. All right, we can debate it later, but it is something in there. But these do's and don'ts are a little bit more specific and a little bit more sort of, I guess, have them at your desk, use them while you're doing your AI prompt. So here's the first little task that we are going to engage with, and I'm going to hand over to Jez to talk about this.
So everyone, hopefully what you have in front of you, that CARES prompt, the theory is, well, first of all, if you haven't done it before, it's an opportunity for you to do it today, but our theory being that this might be something that you take back to your school. So, copy what's on here and make a gajillion photocopies. Fortunately, we're in the last session of doing this today, so if you want to take some extra copies back to your school, obviously more than welcome. But our theory is that you might be able to do this with your staff as just a opportunity to kind of upskill them, really. So we're going to trial it on you today, and then obviously you can take it back to your school. So just an opportunity for a bit of a think, pair, share. There is paper and pen in front of you if you want to do it. But we have created we've written down 5 things that we think might kind of be things that occasionally happen at a school. You might have your home ec teacher go, tell me how to fry an egg or whatever. Is anyone a Rod Gilbert fan? No, don't worry. Just me. But yeah, so you've got 5 things there that you could ask AI to do with very bad prompts. They are very cares at that moment. So if you can, think, pair, share, make those prompts great with that CARES principle. So adding some clarity, audience, role, examples, structure, style to help you do that. Don't need to do it on the line. You can just do it on a bit of paper, think in your head, either way. Yeah, I know, I'm old school. All good? Any questions? All clear? So yeah, think, pair, share, obviously. take your time, probably 3-4 minutes just to do this. If you get one done, do a second, do a third, see what happens. Did anyone work on item number 1 about tell me how to cook an egg? I'm just going to very quickly come around and go, what did you make it into?
So we were very specific with what curriculum we were using and what was the purpose. So we were thinking we're using the Australian curriculum, and then we decided what age group. So we're talking about a Year 3 student. We also then had to identify what kind of egg we wanted, if we wanted a soft-boiled egg or a hard-boiled egg or a poached egg.
Nice.
And then we also looked at what was the purpose, so putting in our learning and success intentions and success criteria. And then we also had the conversation about could we make slight adjustments. So if we've got a Year 3 student who is English as a second language, could we have a prompt that talks about using simple decodable texts, or could we bold verbs or bold then, next, after, and then be able to just switch our instructions or tweak our instructions ever so slightly to make sure that we're hitting an enable, extend and standard.
Wonderful.
Awesome. I'm not going to go through all of these. I think number 3 is an interesting one to do. Anyone do number 3 about create an image about trigonometry? Fantastic. Here we come.
Hello. I wrote it, draw me a diagram of a right-angled triangle with one angle marked in a particular side. Label one side with the length of the second side and a variable like x so that students have to use trigonometry to solve the problem.
Thank you. Did you do anything about like what age group the student is, or do you just assume that everyone knows what trigonometry is? Fair enough. I mean, I'm going to say I'm going to stand here having absolutely zero idea what it's actually going to output, so that's where the moment of going, the more you put in the first place. Happy days, ChatGPT. Like, I mean, every day I think it's things like ChatGPT are getting better to put out something that you probably actually want, and they know who you are as well. So they will have that history of going, oh yeah, you keep on asking me things about maths, maybe you're a maths teacher, and you keep on seeming to do things that are like a Year 9 standard, so maybe you're a Year 9 maths teacher. Did anyone do number 5 out of interest? I heard that. Excellent. Yes, Zach.
I do like a bit of voluntelling.
I didn't do number 5.
Give it a go.
Alright. Get me a video on pop music. So clarity. We want an 80s video of pop music. Do you have a song from the 80s?
It's got to be a banger.
Yeah, go on. While we're
That's an example.
GPT
Madonna
models can
song.
probably interpret
The
banger these
audience-
days.
The audience is obviously for the staff because we love our 80s music. The role, we are acting as a music teacher. The example, I'd give an example of a Madonna song that I like. Fast-paced, upbeat, and then the structure and style is a video. So is that about right?
Right.
So I specifically put that one in because ChatGPT rick-rolled me one day. I asked it to do something, and then it just was like, here's a video of Rick Astley. And I was like, So yeah.
You didn't ask for an 80s pop music video.
No. I think the other interesting thing with that is one of the things I've tried as well is basically asking it to go, tell me why this is a good video to use. What's the good things and the bad things about this video potentially. So you can also ask it to tell you in that kind of examples part, going what's good and what's bad. But yeah, let's move on.
Great, thank you. So we want to go through some of the AI features that are available inside Schoolbox at the moment. for you to have a play around with in a moment so that you know where they exist. So, the CK editor. Around Schoolbox, you will find the rich text editor, where you're able to do all sorts of fun things, use text formatting, banners, upload files, embed content. But if you have the AI service enabled inside Schoolbox, so your school has set up either Azure or OpenAI to connect into Schoolbox, you will also see the little robot icon and the little magic wand icon inside. So these are, I guess, AI that your staff are probably most used to currently. You know, they've probably gone to ChatGPT at some point. They've probably used, hopefully, Microsoft Copilot or something similar, where you've got some guardrails in place about what gets shared out. So these are the things that they're familiar with, but we have embedded them directly inside Schoolbox. And like James has been talking about, we've got safeguards in place about stripping out PII and all of those sorts of bits of information that might not be appropriate to feed a large language model that you don't have any control over. So it exists in pretty much every single place that the rich text editor exists. So it's in the communications module, it's in the LMS, it's in pastoral care, it's all over the place. So it's there ready. So you can either, as you can see there, the robot icon allows you to provide a prompt in there. You can also highlight text within the text box and then click the robot icon and give it a prompt in order to modify the text that currently exists. Or we've also pre-configured some sort of language change suggestions under the magic wand, things like simplifying language for particular users, the ability to quickly translate into some common languages, so you don't have to prompt it every time. Sometimes you just want to, quickly do something to the text, and the magic wand kind of has those quick prompts underneath. One of the big features that we've delivered for AI so far is AI within lesson plans. So lesson plans are a learning activity type within Schoolbox. Now, as time has gone on, the words lesson plan have become less meaningful to the feature, because really they can be whatever you imagine. If you're familiar with it, you are able to set up templates in the administration section. So either a super user or an LMS moderator can go in and design templates for staff to use. So those might be traditional lesson planners. They could be term planners, daily planners. They can be really anything you can imagine that you might have need of a planning document for that's not already covered by something like our unit planner. So as part of that, each lesson plan template now will also include a field description. So you create the field, for example, what we see on the screen here is the lesson objective, but the field description is essentially an AI prompt telling the AI that is going to generate a lesson eventually what the intention of that field is. So you can already prompt at the system level for your lesson plans, so that when the teacher is doing their work, there's already some school-based information or some leadership level prompting that's gone on for that field, so that you can build consistency into how the AI is interpreting the teacher's instructions for each field. It's also important to know that as part of that, is it going to still be lesson plans? Yep. That when you generate a lesson plan, the AI is going to pay attention to more than just those field descriptions. It's going to look at the name or the title of the lesson plan. It is going to be able to read the curriculum codes that you have attached to your lesson plan. So if you've attached curriculum to the unit of work already, there will be a browse button, and it will highlight the curriculum codes that are attached to the unit, so that they are much more easily selectable by a person generating a lesson plan. You'll have access to the wider curriculum as well. You're not just limited to your unit curriculum, but it's going to highlight that key curriculum straight away for the teacher that's already been tagged. And then if they want to add any other additional curriculum in, they can. It's also going to ask you for the duration of the lesson, so you can, or how long the entire lesson plan template should take to teach. So that could be 50 minutes, that could be multiple periods. You can kind of give it that context about how long it should be generating for, and it's also going to give you the ability to provide just any additional context that you want to. So things like, I want this lesson to happen outdoors. So things like that aren't going to be specific within the field descriptions, you can make specific per lesson plan. I've had to play around with it. Did a bunch with people on the stand at Edutech in Sydney that were really interested in that new feature, and when you combine all of that information together, it's pretty darn impressive what the GPT model that you connect can output for a lesson. Obviously, you can regenerate fields, you can modify them manually once they've generated, you can generate just certain fields and not others. So you've got a lot of control as a classroom teacher or as a head of department or whoever's generating the lesson as to the kind of content that you're getting from the AI. So there's some of those features there. You can see there the ability to choose which fields it's generating for, to set that lesson plan duration and add additional context. As part of 25.1, we're not only going to be allowing you to create text generation through AI, but AI image generation is also coming to Schoolbox. Don't tell James we told you this. We don't want to steal his thunder for 25.1 release this afternoon. But essentially, wherever you can attach images within Schoolbox, if you have entered credentials for your AI generation, AI image generation, this will then become available to staff. You can turn it on and off throughout the year. If you don't want AI image generation to be available at all times, you might only have it available when staff are designing new courses or new units of work where they might need to attach images. So you can enable and disable it as you need to. But essentially, you'll be able to have a conversation with the AI about the type of image you want. You'll be able to get it to refine the images that it's giving you. So you can have an ongoing conversation with it, refining the image, giving it more prompts, giving it more context, giving it more things to look at. You'll be able to tell it what size and what style you want it to be in. And then once you're happy with the image it's created, you can click that upload button. That will end the conversation and you won't be able to go back to it. And that file will then become local inside Schoolbox so that you can use it as you see fit. All right, I'm going to pass back over to Jez.
So everyone, we have 2 challenges that we think will cater for everyone in this room. So the first one is more from a teaching point of view. We've put it for Year 3 English. If you want to do something a bit random, that's up to you. But challenge 1 for a teacher is about creating content for a lesson effectively. And then our second challenge is more about Marcoms, so creating something for an extracurricular situation. I'll put this back up in a minute after giving you some login details. But the important thing, everyone, is that basically I'm going to give you 15 minutes, which I think is plenty of time for the record, to do all of these things, just to prove how quickly and efficient you can be. So after 15 minutes, I'm going to get you just to very quickly showcase to the other people on your table what you've done, what you've created, and just to go, wasn't this fantastic? My prompts were amazing. And then we'll have a little talk after that about, our findings, our experiences whilst doing it. So, Ant, if you could move on one slide. So, if I can get you all to log in to this instance, if you were in a session yesterday, like 2501 or 2502 was your instance, that will not work for you today very well. So can you make sure you go to Meetup 25, not the other numbers? And as per yesterday, the username and password, if you don't want to go that way, is like teacher, and then whatever number is on your lanyard. And the password will be password and that number on your lanyard. All good? Okay, and if you can move on one slide for me.
Does anyone still need that URL and the password and username format? Like,
If you want to do it in your own instance, I have no problems with that.
As long as you've got AI
use your
connected.
own AI money rather than our AI money. That's no problem by me. So,
you'll have to account for that 20 cents.
yeah, this experience will cost you about 20 cents probably. So. Cool. Anyone need some help logging in? If so, stick your hand up. Someone will come round. But here is the challenge. You have 13 minutes. Go.
Choosing one brief. Choose a brief. Don't do both. 30 minutes for one.
Do both if you have time, but yeah, do one well.
Yeah. 2 will be impressive if you do them well. Okay. I'll bring up the instructions again in just a moment, but if you are still confused about where you should be going, I'll show you this. So if you are doing the communications challenge, all right, I would head into the resource browser in your top menu. I'm just going to log in as a teacher. I'm already a teacher. That's good. So I'd head into the resource browser using this button in your top menu. Okay. We've got challenge 2 here, Marcoms, create your group page here. So you're going to click on this drop-down arrow. Actually, you don't even need to click that. Just click on that name of that folder. You're going to add a folder. And I'm going to call this Anthony's group page. I am going to click on this drop-down. I'm just going to add a blank home page, although you could probably add the communication, and let's do it in fact. I'm going to add the communication page template. I'm going to create that folder. I'm going to go find it. Click on my home page button. Okay, from there, I've got a news component. I can add a text box if I need to by clicking on this drop down and dragging one on. Okay, and so I can start to add content to my group page. That's if you're doing a group. If you are doing the learning task, you're going to click on courses, navigate all the way down the list or search to Year 3 English. Okay, I'm going to click in, and then I am going to open one of my units of work. Let's do our local wildlife. The task calls to create a project, which you can do. If you're familiar with projects, you can then create a due work, a lesson plan, and a task within that. If you're feeling like that's a bit too adventurous, just do the individuals. Do a task, do a due work, and do a lesson plan one at a time. I'll bring those instructions back now. I just had a really, really great question. Image generation will not be within the robot AI assistant interface. Okay, in the rich text editor, there will be a little folder icon with a plus, and when you hover over it, it will say embed resources. Okay, so if you're inside a text box and you want to generate an image, click on that embed resources button. Down the bottom of that will be image generation. That's where you need to go to use that image generator within a text box.
Hi, everyone. What I would love at this moment is just to literally save what you've done and then just to very quickly exhibit to the people around you going, here is what AI has created for me. Hopefully not too sloppy. And it's actually got some good content. So can you please just show to each other what you've done and then award someone on your table that box of chocolates for being the champion of AI and caring the most. If you don't have anyone on your table, feel free just to move and talk to someone. So I'll give you like 4 minutes to do that, and then we will move on to this. We'll do this after the achievement. What we'd like you to do on your table is just to discuss these 4 things about your experience today. Like, what went well? What are your pain points? Was there anything that kind of came out of this that surprised you, like pig noses or anything like that? And is there anything with your prompting that you found worked well or didn't work so well? So if you can just discuss those 4 points, and we'll then just have a wider whole room discussion about some of those key points afterwards. So yeah, just have a chat we've got about 5 minutes.
All right. Hopefully you've nominated someone at your table to receive a lovely box of Lindt chocolates. If you haven't, you know, you can find another way to divvy it out. You know, who's been to the most sessions, who's posted the most times in the Hoover app. You can come up with a criteria. You could share. That actually didn't cross my mind, so that says something about me probably more than anything.
Channeling your inner PE teacher there.
That's right. Oh, goodness gracious. It's been a long 2 days. Right. So I think these are the 3 key takeaways we're assuming that are at the front of your minds, and we kind of want you to walk away knowing. So practice makes perfection. And if you are going to take this kind of task back to school to work with your staff on, I think it's really important that you are preaching that to them, that this is not something that you just master overnight. You're not going to be this, I think the fancy term for it is like a prompt engineer. You're not going to be that sort of high level of prompting immediately. And you're probably going to have to keep referring to cares, every time you do it for a while, going, right, have I got clarity? Have I got, this and that? But over time, as we know with all skills, they become innate. They become a part of what we do on a day-to-day basis. They become part of routine. We just kind of naturally kind of gravitate towards those good prompts. So lots of practice. This is a tool, okay? It is not a replacement. I think that goes without saying. Some teachers are terrified that their schools aren't going to see it that way, or parents aren't going to see it that way. So we always need to just be, reinforcing that this is a time-saving tool, okay, in the hands of people that actually know what they're doing. So don't, there's all sorts of things that we can talk about around AI and teachers and what the future looks like. But this is a tool that teachers have, and they need to be well informed about its strengths and limitations. So they need to know what that expectation looks like. And, looking at that chart that Grant brought up this morning, there's going to be that peak of, overestimating its ability, that disillusionment, and then that slow and gradual rise back to that plateau where they'll get the most out of it over time. We've got lots of different ways that you can use AI. Having it embedded in the CK editor, like we said, most of the system means that it's readily available to staff to use in a variety of different tasks and for different purposes. So it's, providing that really quick prompting and really quick refining. Lesson planning, obviously, is a more complex form of the AI within our system, and it is obviously not where we'll be stopping. That is just the first of many, many features to come. So if you are ready to amplify your impact, keep refining your prompting skills over time to unlock that full potential. Remember to care. And hopefully you've got some tools to go back and empower your staff to start playing around with AI a little bit and getting used to using it in their day-to-day lives. If you want, you can always visit Schoolbox Help, where you can find lots of different help articles around, setting up the AI, using the AI, lesson planning using AI. Jump into the request forums, for teaching and learning, and the other places where maybe you want to start suggesting what you'd like to see happen with AI next. You'll see our faces, Lily, Lou, I, Jez, we're all over those forums all the time. So we'll be jumping in and responding to things, keeping an eye on those forums. And every roadmap session that we have, your voice is a key part of our decision-making process. And we will always report back on which features we deliver as part of our releases as well. So thank you so much. This is our last session before we all come back together for the 25.1 release session. So I hope you've got a lot out of the last 2 days. It has been our pleasure to work with you and speak with you, and hopefully you've gained a lot to take back to your schools. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've got additional prompts here. If you want to take some more flyers back with you, feel free to come see Lou. Lily, are there chocolates in those bags?
Yeah, get rid of the chocolates. We don't want to
Are they
have
there?
them either.
Yeah, if you didn't become the champion at your table, but you think, I deserve some chocolate, there's some up here.